Welcome to our weekly reading where we explore all things astrological. From our two different points of view in two different locations in the world, we bring to you a unique astrological perspective on what is happening right now across the globe. So here we go. Hi everybody, this is Diana in LA and Cary in the UK, and we're here to tell you about this week's stars. Today is November 14th, Saturday, on the new moon in Scorpio. And I wanted to start, at least today, with the Sabian symbol for the new moon. Sabian symbols are images and thought forms that are for every single degree of the zodiac. There are 360 degrees in a circle. There are 12 signs. Each sign has 30 degrees. 12 times 3 is 360. So what happens is every single one of those degrees has a meaning and an impressionistic, in a sense, tarot card that goes with it. And it's really interesting to look up every single planet in your chart to see what the symbology of the exact degree is. Whenever you're doing this, should you choose to get a book on Sabian symbols, then you always go up a degree. So if it is 13 degrees, Scorpio 12, it's 14 degrees. So what you read about is the degree that follows it. Even if it's 13 degrees, Scorpio 0, it still is 14 degrees. So today's new moon falls on 24 Scorpio. It's a new moon, so it's extra potent. So we always like to look at those extra potent symbologies because it gives you a flavor or a sense or an impression of what comes with that. And so this one Sabian symbol is crowds coming down the mountain to listen to one inspired man. So that's very interesting because today, literally as we speak, there is a really big Trump rally in Washington, D.C. Crowds coming down the mountain to listen to one inspired man. The key words for this symbol are insecurity or visionary. It can go either way. And every Sabian symbol has a flip like that, where there's a positive aspect and a negative aspect. So I'll just leave you to ponder that Sabian symbol to this day's new moon energy. You know that whenever we have a new moon, it's a new start, it's a new beginning, and we are definitely in a new beginning this week. So Cary, what are you noticing over there?
We've had one hell of a week. We've been talking for the last few months about Jupiter conjunct Pluto and how when they come together, it starts the beginning of healing. Well, the news last Tuesday, was they found a vaccine for coronavirus, which is 90% successful, has a 90% chance of being successful. What fantastic news is that? So that is the beginning of healing for the whole world with regards to coronavirus. Now, at the same time, changes have been happening in the United States, but we've had some big changes in the UK. Yesterday, our Prime Minister, who had his two loyal advisors who helped him get elected, who helped him negotiate his position so he could be in the position to negotiate Brexit. He fired them yesterday. So for the UK politically, it's the start of something new. In America politically, it's the start of something new. So all of this together could be very good news for the world going forward. Now this week, we've got the square of Venus to the stellium. So it's going to feel a little bit uncomfortable for some people, just for the time being, while, as we described this whole process last week as an earthquake, while the rumbling begins to subside. So this is a very important week. Also, this is the week where Uranus and Mercury go into exact opposition. So expect round about Wednesday some startling announcements on the coronavirus, on the politics side, both UK and the USA, which could be quite unusual.
Exactly. It's an interesting week, I thought, this one, because it isn't as intense as it has been. It's been really intense, this increasing tension that we've been talking about every single week since the beginning of January. It's been just tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. And this week, it's not done. And we're definitely still in it with that Mercury opposed Uranus. That's going to culminate at the end of the week, squaring the moon. So even more big news coming and more surprises. But there's a little bit of like these wonderful little lifts of energy that are also happening. So I think there's hope in the air, even though we're not done, and you're going to be seeing still some skirmishes and some clashes of ideology and personally and out in the world. But it's a time where there's little moments like we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Even though it's not this week, it's starting to shift.
Yes, and also we've got to take into account that Mars went direct today, and the transitions going forward is going to be a little bit challenging, because as Mars starts going forward, it's going to start to square the stellium for the last time.
I wanted to also add the Sabian symbol, since we're looking at him a little bit today, for Mars going direct in Aries. It goes direct at 16 degrees Aries. It's been retrograde, and it's going to cross over that stellium one more time. Not this week, but soon. And the Sabian symbol for 16 degrees Aries, our Mars energy, how we take action in the world, is brownies dancing in the setting sun. So it's a little bit of magic in there, but sort of brownies are up to no good sometimes. Right? So they're up to shenanigans maybe backstage a little bit. But another idea that's associated with that degree is it is a time for healing. And so it is the beginning of a healing cycle. We're starting to move into that. And Mars, the way we take action, we may be looking at some more tension building like we've been experiencing in the world. But also it is the beginning of kind of the big wheels are starting to turn towards December 21st, the winter solstice, when the energy is really going to change.
Politically, it's going to be a little bit stormy, a little bit uncomfortable. It won't be what people think it's going to be, but it won't be bad, both for the UK and for the United States. So, yes, the light is at the end of the tunnel, but it's a very gradual process going forward. As we've talked about many times, it's the winter solstice where we start to move on, when Saturn and Jupiter become conjunct in Aquarius. The people who are going to be affected most this week, who will feel the big impact of the T-square of Mercury, Uranus and the Moon, are people who, Aquarians, people, Scorpios, Taurians and Leos, who have their birthdays in the first 4 or 5 days of their birth month. So they will really feel the impact of these transits for this week. The President of the United States will also feel it as well, because he has a Leo ascendant, and this will be quite challenging. So while this stellium is opposed to his Venus still, he's feeling uncomfortable with some of the relationships he's having with his fellow senators and some of his aides and some of his family, because that is the opposition of the stellium to his Venus conjunct Saturn.
Let's break that down just a little bit. So what we're coming to as the week goes on, we have this constant Mercury opposed Uranus situation. And just so you can see how that might relate to your chart, is it has to do with Mercury, the way we communicate and what we are communicating about. With Uranus, changes. It's in opposition, so shocking changes sometimes. too much heat in a conversation that can lead to argument. As it comes to Friday, when there's a T-square with the moon, it's personal. It's how we really feel. It is taking things personally. So be very aware, all of us Leos, Scorpios, Taurus, and Aquariuses, we have to be extra mindful of our words this week and also how we interpret other people's words. It's personal in that sense. It's global in the sense that the countries that are ruled by Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, right, also are going to be extra charged this week with that Mercury opposition. And when the moon touches it, as it's Friday-ish around, it will be extra volatile.
It comes to a head on Saturday with a really nice aspect between Mercury and Neptune. So all you Arians out there and you Leos who are born between the 5th and the 10th of their birth month will have a really good feeling on Saturday. So Mercury, planet of communication, Neptune, planet of ideals and dreams. It'll be a very nice day. So Saturday, we won't get dynamic news. That will be during the week. Saturday will be a bit of an exhale. Oh, things are a little bit better today.
Yes, and that's what I was saying about the little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. I feel like there's a little bit of a breather happening. I keep seeing this image of a wind that lilts up like a spinning leaf, you know. There's something where there's a little bit of normalcy coming, a more order and reorganization, even though Mercury is opposed to Uranus all week long. But it is a new moon energy. And so here we go into this new moon of Scorpio.
On Thursday, the moon is conjunct the stellium, and probably for the last time where the stellium is very packedly tight together. So expect some dynamic news on Thursday, and as the weeks go on now, that stellium will become lighter and lighter as Saturn pulls away, as it edges into Aquarius, as Jupiter starts moving away, and they're both moving away from Pluto. So this will take away some of the really strong vibrations from these planets, if you want to put it that way. And it will ease a little bit.
So the planets to watch this week are Mars, as it turns direct in Aries, going to touch into that stellium again. Venus, as it squares the stellium and exact to Saturn. And Mercury-Uranus, as they oppose each other, T-squaring the moon towards the end of the week, Thursday, Friday. So we've got a very profound, interesting, newsy week coming, and it's a lot to manage, but I think it's going to be good news if it's not fraught with dissent as usual, but it'll be interesting, like we are turning a corner.
So Thursday's the last day where the moon, the emotional part planet, now comes into contact with the stellium, all together in their 20s of degrees, between 22 and 27 degrees, passes through all those planets. So on Thursday, I would not be surprised if we get some very exciting news in a way, which will affect everybody going forward. It may be to do with the coronavirus. It may be to do with something political. But I think it's going to be, the last 2 days are going to be quite a challenging couple of days on the news front, which culminates in this wonderful trine at the end of the week where we can exhale a little bit mentally, because I think some answers will come through this week from some of the questions on politically both in the UK and the United States of America.
This might be a good place to leave it here. There's a lot more to say, of course, about this interesting week coming, but it is a new moon energy, and so I would recommend that you plant your seeds. You know, this is the time of the month, whenever the moon is new, is that literally farmers would plant seeds, right? So the full moon starts to pull that seed, and it is considered the healthiest for most plants way to plant seeds is on a new moon. So what seeds will you plant? What scorpionic seeds might you be planting Scorpio rules that inner life, that deep place, your real intensified emotions, how you actually feel, your mystery that's within you. What might you plant this week to set the tone for this whole month coming? And so we'll see you next week with another episode of Astrology World with Diana in LA and Cary in the UK. And we really wish you a good week.
Take care, everyone, and be safe.